Welcome to the most exciting coin discovery of your life. Today, we're diving into the mysterious and ultra-rare bicentennial coins, an ordinary-looking coin with the power to make you a millionaire overnight. If you've got this hidden gem in your pocket, your entire future could change in an instant. Let's unlock the secrets behind this legendary piece of treasure. First up, the story of the 1972 Eisenhower dollar begins during a fascinating moment in American history. In the early 1970s, the United States was experiencing a period of political tension, technological optimism, and cultural change. Just a few years after the historic lunar landing of Apollo 11 moon landing, the nation was still captivated by space exploration and Cold War competition. At the same time, the country was transitioning economically after abandoning the gold standard. In this environment, the large and bold Eisenhower dollar entered circulation as both a tribute to leadership and a celebration of American achievement. Produced by the United States Mint, the 1972 Eisenhower dollar with the San Francisco S. mint mark would eventually capture the attention of collectors, not simply because of its mintage numbers, but because of the remarkable varieties and preservation challenges that make certain examples extraordinarily valuable today. The Eisenhower dollar series itself was created to honor the legacy of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th President of the United States and a respected World War II commander. Introduced in 1971, the coin represented the last large-sized dollar coin struck for circulation in the United States. The design work was entrusted to chief engraver Frank Gasparro, whose artistic vision blended patriotic symbolism with modern achievement. On the obverse, Eisenhower's dignified portrait faces left, with the word Liberty arching above and the year 1972 positioned below. Gasparro's design intentionally emphasized strength and simplicity, portraying the president as both a wartime leader and a symbol of American stability during uncertain times. The reverse design is equally meaningful and directly tied to America's triumph in space exploration. Gasparro adapted the insignia used during the Apollo missions, depicting an eagle descending toward the surface of the moon while clutching an olive branch. The Earth appears dramatically in the background, reminding viewers of humanity's fragile home. This imagery echoes the excitement that followed the Apollo 11 moon landing and the continuing ambitions of NASA during the early 1970s. For collectors, this reverse design is more than artistic decoration. It represents a cultural snapshot of a nation proud of its technological progress. In terms of production, the 1972 Eisenhower dollar was struck in several varieties across different mints, including special collector issues produced in San Francisco with the S. mint mark. Official mintage numbers for the San Francisco proofs and silver-clad collector versions were substantial, reaching into the millions. Yet seasoned numismatists understand that mintage alone rarely determines rarity. Many coins were mishandled, stored improperly, or later cleaned, drastically reducing the number of well-preserved survivors. As decades passed, collectors realized that pristine or unusual examples, especially those displaying original surfaces, were significantly scarcer than raw production numbers suggested. Another key factor influencing value is survival rate and strike quality. Eisenhower dollars are notoriously difficult coins to strike sharply because of their large diameter and thick metal planchets. Weak details around Eisenhower's hair and the eagle's feathers are common. Coins that show crisp details, even luster and natural tunning, stand out immediately among collectors. Ironically, even coins described as scratched or toned can become desirable if the tunning is natural, and the coin retains its original surfaces. Such characteristics provide evidence that the coin has not been altered or harshly cleaned, something professional graders and advanced collectors carefully evaluate. The year 1972 is also famous among numismatists for multiple reverse design varieties, particularly the widely studied Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3 reverses on circulation strikes. These differences are subtle but important, involving the shape and placement of the Earth above the eagle. Type 2 examples, which show a simplified Earth design derived from a proof hub, are especially scarce and highly sought after. When a rare reverse variety appears on a coin that also carries strong eye appeal, the value can multiply dramatically. Even coins that circulated for years can command significant attention if they belong to these scarce die varieties. Minting errors add another layer of intrigue. During the early 1970s, dies were created using hubbing processes that occasionally produced doubling or alignment mistakes. Hub doubling could create doubled lettering or design elements, while hand-punched mint marks, still used during that era, sometimes resulted in repunched mint marks or slight misplacements. Additionally, die fatigue and metal stress could produce die cracks, cuds, or off-center strikes. These errors occurred during the normal mechanical stresses of production at the United States Mint. When such errors appear clearly on a collectible coin like the 1972 Eisenhower dollar, they transform an ordinary piece of currency into a fascinating manufacturing artifact. Condition and originality remain the most powerful drivers of value. A scratched or toned example may appear ordinary at first glance, but if the tunning developed naturally over decades, often creating shades of gold, blue, or violet, it can enhance desirability. Professional grading services carefully examine surface preservation, identifying signs of cleaning, artificial tunning, or damage. Coins that maintain their original mint luster, even with moderate circulation wear, often achieve stronger market interest. Collectors especially appreciate pieces that have remained untouched since the 1970s, preserving the authentic character of the era. Market values for the 1972 Eisenhower dollar with the S mint mark vary widely depending on condition and variety. Circulated examples in fine or very fine condition may trade for modest collector premiums, often ranging from a few dollars to several dozen depending on eye appeal. Coins approaching about uncirculated or mint state grades can reach significantly higher levels, particularly when paired with desirable tunning or scarce varieties. Exceptional proof or high-grade silverclad examples certified by professional grading services have sold for hundreds and occasionally thousands of dollars in specialized auctions, especially when registry set collectors compete for the finest known specimens. Registry set competition has become one of the most powerful forces in the modern coin market. Collectors building top-ranked sets seek the absolute finest examples certified by grading companies, and the competition for those pieces can push auction prices dramatically higher. When a coin combines several desirable factors, rare variety, superb preservation, historical significance, and documented provenance, it becomes a centerpiece of advanced collections. The 1972 Eisenhower dollar is a perfect example of how a coin once viewed as common pocket change can transform into a prized collectible when rarity, condition, and collector demand intersect under extraordinary circumstances. Second, the story of the 1974 Eisenhower $1 coin begins in a turbulent but transformative year in American history. The United States was facing political uncertainty, economic challenges, and shifting global influence. The nation was still deeply affected by the unfolding events of the Watergate scandal, which would eventually lead to the resignation of Richard Nixon later that year. Inflation and the aftermath of the oil crisis were reshaping everyday life for American families. Yet amid this political tension, the United States Mint continued producing one of the largest and most iconic modern American coins, the Eisenhower dollar. While millions of these coins were struck, a surprising number of unusual examples from 1974 have quietly developed reputations as highly collectible treasures, particularly when rare varieties or extraordinary preservation appear. The Eisenhower dollar series itself was introduced in 1971 to honor the legacy of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the five-star general who commanded Allied forces during World War II and later served as the 34th President of the United States. The coin also symbolized America's pride in space exploration during the Cold War era. Its design was created by Frank Gasparro, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. Gasparro's work sought to balance traditional portraiture with a modern national achievement, creating a coin that connected military leadership, presidential legacy, and the spirit of exploration. On the obverse, Eisenhower's strong profile faces left, framed by the bold word liberty and the national motto, "In God We Trust." The date appears below, anchoring the portrait with historical context. The reverse is perhaps even more dramatic. It features an eagle descending toward the lunar surface, clutching an olive branch while Earth rises in the distance. This powerful image was adapted from the insignia of the Apollo 11 moon landing mission, reflecting America's pride in space exploration. The design captures a rare moment when numismatic art directly mirrored technological triumph. In terms of production, the 1974 Eisenhower dollar was struck in large numbers at multiple mint facilities. Circulation coins from Philadelphia and Denver were produced in the tens of millions, while collector versions were struck at San Francisco. At first glance, such mintage totals might suggest the coin is common. However, experienced collectors know that mintage alone does not determine rarity. Over decades, countless coins were spent, scratched, cleaned, or stored improperly. As a result, the number of coins that survive today with attractive surfaces and strong details is far smaller than the original production figures suggest. Another important factor influencing value is strike quality. Eisenhower dollars are famously difficult coins to strike well because of their large diameter and thick planchets. Many pieces show weak detail in Eisenhower's hair or the eagle's feathers. When a coin displays sharp details across both sides, collectors immediately take notice. Even coins that show scratches or natural tunning may still attract interest if they retain original surfaces. In fact, toned examples sometimes develop beautiful layers of color over time, subtle blues, golds, or purples, that signal decades of natural aging rather than artificial alteration. The 1974 issue is also known among collectors for several varieties and minting anomalies. Double die varieties occasionally appear when the hubbing process that transfers the design to a working die shifts slightly between impressions. Repunched mint marks can occur because mint marks were still punched into dies by hand during this era. Some coins show die cracks, where stress fractures developed after repeated strikes. More dramatic errors include off-center strikes or clipped planchets. While many of these variations are subtle, certain examples have gained strong collector demand because they reveal the complex mechanical process behind coin production. Understanding how these errors occur adds another layer of fascination. During the minting process, a master hub presses the design into a working die under tremendous pressure. If the die shifts even slightly during this process, double details can appear on the final coin. Similarly, when mint marks were punched by hand, a second punch might be applied if the first attempt was weak or misaligned, creating the repunched mint marks collectors look for today. Over time, repeated striking of metal planchets causes dies to wear down, sometimes cracking under stress. These small mechanical imperfections often become the very features that transform an ordinary coin into a rare collectible. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Eisenhower dollar market is how circulated coins occasionally become surprisingly valuable. A scratched or toned coin might appear ordinary at first glance, but if it carries a rare die variety or a dramatic minting error, its desirability can increase dramatically. Coins that spent years in circulation sometimes emerge decades later with unique characteristics that specialists recognize immediately. When such coins are certified by professional grading services, their authenticity and condition, become part of a documented record that collectors trust. In today's numismatic market, the value of a 1974 Eisenhower dollar depends heavily on grade, originality, and variety. Circulated examples in fine or very fine condition typically command modest collector premiums, often ranging from a few dollars up to around 20 depending on eye appeal. Coins approaching about uncirculated condition may reach higher levels, particularly when they show attractive tunning or scarce die features. Mint state coins certified in high grades can sell for hundreds of dollars, and exceptional examples with rare varieties or extraordinary preservation have achieved even stronger auction results when registry collectors compete for top rankings. Registry set competition has dramatically reshaped how coins like the 1974 Eisenhower dollar are valued. Collectors building the highest graded certified sets often compete intensely for the finest known examples. When a coin appears with remarkable strike quality, vivid natural tunning, and documented provenance, bidding can escalate quickly in major auctions. These moments demonstrate how a coin originally struck as everyday currency can evolve into a prized historical artifact. The 1974 Eisenhower dollar reminds us that even a coin once carried casually in pockets during a turbulent year in American history can become a valuable collectible when rarity, preservation, and collector passion converge. Third, the story of the 1776-1976 Eisenhower bicentennial dollar begins with one of the most important celebrations in American history. In 1976, the United States marked the 200th anniversary of the nation's founding, commemorating the signing of the United States Declaration of Independence in 1776. Across the country, patriotic celebrations, parades, and special events honored 2 centuries of American independence. The United States Mint joined this national celebration by producing special bicentennial coinage, including redesigned quarters, half dollars, and the massive Eisenhower $1 coin. These coins carried the dual date, 1776-1976, a reminder of the nation's journey from a group of colonies to a global power. While millions were produced, certain examples, especially those with unusual varieties, strong strikes, or distinctive surfaces, have become some of the most fascinating and valuable modern American collectibles. The Eisenhower dollar series itself was first introduced in 1971 as a tribute to the legacy of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the World War II Supreme Allied Commander and the 34th President of the United States. The coin also honored the spirit of American space exploration, which had captured global attention after the historic Apollo 11 moon landing. The coin's design was created by U.S. Mint chief engraver Frank Gasparro, whose work helped define the appearance of many American coins in the mid-20th century. Gasparro's portrait of Eisenhower on the obverse is bold and dignified, reflecting the strength and leadership associated with the former president. For the bicentennial issue, the obverse retained Gasparro's portrait of Eisenhower, but the reverse was completely redesigned to commemorate the anniversary of independence. Instead of the familiar eagle landing on the moon, the reverse now featured the Liberty Bell superimposed over the moon. This striking image symbolized both the nation's revolutionary origins and its technological achievements. The Liberty Bell, long associated with the American Revolution, appears in front of the lunar surface, visually connecting the founding ideals of 1776 with the scientific triumphs of the modern era. The design was created by artist Dennis R. Williams after winning a national competition organized by the U.S. Mint. The official mintage numbers for the bicentennial Eisenhower dollar were enormous. Tens of millions of circulation coins were struck at the Denver Mint with the D mint mark, while Philadelphia produced additional issues without a mint mark and San Francisco created collector versions in silver composition. At first glance, these huge production numbers might suggest the coin is extremely common. However, Experienced collectors understand that mintage alone does not define rarity. Over the decades, many coins were heavily circulated, scratched, or improperly cleaned, leaving far fewer well-preserved examples available today. Strike quality is another crucial factor in determining value. The Eisenhower dollar's large size made it difficult for mint presses to fully bring out the finest details of the design. Weak strikes are especially common on Eisenhower's hair and on the intricate lines of the Liberty Bell. Coins that show strong, sharp detail immediately stand out to collectors. Even examples that appear scratched or toned may still be desirable if they retain their original surfaces and natural aging patterns. Natural tunning, formed slowly over decades, often produces attractive hues of gold, blue, or violet that collectors consider a sign of authenticity and originality. Varieties and minting anomalies also contribute significantly to the coin's appeal. Some bicentennial Eisenhower dollars display doubled die characteristics, where letters or numbers appear slightly doubled due to shifts during the hubbing process used to create the dies. Others show die cracks, which form when metal dies develop stress fractures after repeated use in high-pressure striking. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other dramatic errors occasionally appear as well. While these anomalies are relatively rare, they can transform a seemingly ordinary circulated coin into a highly collectible variety. Understanding how these minting errors occur helps explain why collectors find them so fascinating. During the die creation process, a master hub presses the design into a blank die with tremendous force. If the hub shifts slightly during repeated impressions, a doubled design can appear. During the 1970s, mint marks were also still punched into dies individually, sometimes resulting in repunched or slightly misaligned mint marks. In addition, the stress of striking millions of coins could cause dies to develop cracks or other distortions. Each of these mechanical quirks leaves behind a visible signature on the final coin. Interestingly, some of the most valuable examples of the 1976 Eisenhower dollar began their lives as ordinary circulation coins. A scratched or toned coin that spent decades in pockets and cash registers might still hide a rare variety or dramatic mint error. When such a coin is discovered and authenticated by professional grading services, it can suddenly attract strong collector attention. These discoveries continue to excite the numismatic community because they demonstrate that remarkable pieces can still appear in unexpected places. In the modern market, the value of a 1976 Eisenhower dollar with a Denver D mint mark varies widely depending on condition and characteristics. Circulated examples in fine or very fine condition often sell for only a few dollars above face value, reflecting their large original mintage. Coins in about uncirculated condition may bring slightly higher prices, particularly if they display appealing natural tunning. High-grade mint state examples certified by professional grading companies can sell for hundreds of dollars, especially when strong strike quality and eye appeal are present. Rare error varieties or exceptional specimens have occasionally achieved even higher auction results due to their uniqueness. Another powerful factor influencing prices is registry set competition among advanced collectors. In registry programs organized by grading companies, collectors compete to assemble the highest graded sets of specific coin series. Because only a limited number of coins exist in the finest certified grades, intense bidding can occur whenever one appears at auction. When a bicentennial Eisenhower dollar combines outstanding preservation, rare variety characteristics, and documented provenance, collectors may pursue it aggressively in order to improve their rankings. The remarkable journey of the 1976 Eisenhower dollar demonstrates how a coin created to celebrate a national milestone can evolve into a treasured collectible. What began as a large commemorative dollar struck during America's bicentennial has become an enduring symbol of history, craftsmanship, and discovery. Even a scratched or toned example may hold hidden significance, reminding collectors that under the right combination of rarity, preservation, and collector demand, an ordinary coin can transform into an extraordinary piece of American numismatic heritage. Fourth, the story of the 1978 Eisenhower dollar begins at the closing chapter of an important era in American coinage. By the late 1970s, the United States was experiencing economic change, rising inflation, and shifting political dynamics under the leadership of Jimmy Carter. The country was recovering from the political turmoil that followed the Watergate scandal and entering a period defined by energy concerns, global diplomacy, and technological growth. During this time, the United States Mint continued striking the Eisenhower dollar, though public enthusiasm for the large coin had faded. By 1978, the Eisenhower dollar would quietly become the final issue of this iconic series, making the last year coins historically significant for collectors decades later. The Eisenhower dollar series itself had been introduced in 1971 to honor the life and leadership of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the five-star general who commanded Allied forces during World War II and later served as the 34th President of the United States. The coin was also intended to commemorate America's achievements in space exploration following the historic Apollo 11 moon landing. The design was created by Frank Gasparo, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. Gasparo crafted a portrait that presented Eisenhower as both a military hero and a national leader, combining traditional numismatic style with modern symbolism. The obverse design features a strong profile portrait of Eisenhower facing left, with the bold word Liberty above and the national motto, "In God We Trust," placed to the side of the portrait. The year 1978 appears below, marking the final date of the series. On the reverse, an eagle descends toward the lunar surface while clutching an olive branch, symbolizing both peace and strength. Earth rises in the background, a subtle but powerful reference to the Apollo space missions. This dramatic scene mirrors the insignia used during the Apollo program and reflects the optimism and technological ambition that defined the late 1960s and early 1970s. Although the 1978 Eisenhower dollar was produced in the millions at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, the official mintage numbers do not fully explain the rarity of certain surviving examples. Many coins entered circulation immediately and were used heavily in casinos, banks, and vending systems. Because the coin was bulky and unpopular for everyday transactions, countless pieces accumulated scratches, contact marks, and wear from constant handling. As a result, coins that survive today with sharp details, strong luster, and minimal damage are far less common than the original mintage statistics might suggest. Strike quality also plays a major role in determining collector interest. The Eisenhower dollar was one of the largest coins produced for circulation in the modern United States, and striking such a large planchet evenly required immense pressure from the minting presses. Many coins show weak details in Eisenhower's hair or the feathers of the eagle on the reverse. When a coin displays unusually crisp features and balanced luster across the surface, collectors quickly recognize it as a superior strike. Even coins described as scratched or toned may still be collectible if the surfaces remain original and the toning developed naturally over decades. Collectors also study the 1978 Eisenhower dollar for a variety of die characteristics and minting anomalies. Some examples show doubled die features where letters or numbers appear slightly doubled due to shifts during the die creation process. Others reveal repunched mint marks, die cracks, or subtle misalignments caused by stress in the dies during production. More dramatic errors, such as off-center strikes or clipped planchets, occasionally appear and can dramatically increase collector interest. Each of these varieties represents a small window into the complex industrial process behind coin manufacturing. Understanding how these errors occur adds to the intrigue of the coin. During die production, a master hub transfers the design into a blank die under enormous pressure. If the hub shifts even slightly between impressions, doubled elements can appear on the final die. During the Eisenhower dollar era, mint marks were sometimes punched into the dies individually, meaning slight mistakes could create repunched mint marks or misaligned letters. Over time, the constant stress of striking thousands of coins can also produce die cracks and other visible imperfections, many of which are eagerly studied by specialists today. Some of the most fascinating 1978 Eisenhower dollars began their lives as ordinary circulating coins. A piece that appears scratched or toned might have spent decades in circulation before being discovered by a collector who noticed an unusual variety or striking anomaly. When authenticated and graded by professional services, these coins can gain significant attention within the numismatic community. In rare cases, circulated coins with dramatic mint errors have achieved impressive auction results because of their uniqueness and visual impact. Market values for the 1978 Eisenhower dollar vary depending on condition and rarity. Circulated coins in fine or very fine condition typically trade for only a small premium over face value, often between $1 and $5 depending on eye appeal. Coins in about uncirculated condition may reach higher levels, particularly if they show attractive natural toning. Mint state examples certified by professional grading companies can sell for dozens or even hundreds of dollars when strong strike quality and eye appeal are present. The finest known examples, especially those with rare die varieties, have occasionally reached even stronger prices in competitive auctions. One of the most powerful forces influencing modern coin prices is registry set competition. Collectors who participate in registry programs attempt to assemble the highest graded sets possible, often seeking the absolute finest certified examples of each date. Because only a handful of coins exist at the very top of the grading scale, intense bidding can occur whenever one appears at auction. When a 1978 Eisenhower dollar combines exceptional preservation, vibrant natural toning, and a documented variety, collectors may compete aggressively to secure it for their collections. The 1978 Eisenhower dollar represents the final chapter of America's last large circulating dollar coin. Though millions were struck, time has revealed that certain examples possess remarkable rarity and appeal. A coin that once passed through countless hands, perhaps scratched, toned, or forgotten in storage, can transform into a valuable historical artifact when collectors recognize its unique qualities. This journey from everyday currency to prized collectible demonstrates how even an ordinary coin can gain extraordinary importance when history, rarity, and collector passion intersect.